1210 BC. The accession of Magadhan king Subrata of the Brihadrata dynasty. 1207 BC. Pharaoh Mermeptah claims a victory over Israel. October 30, 1207. The earliest datable solar eclipse. 1206 BC. The Bronze Age collapse. 1204 BC. Theseus is deposed after a reign of 30 years and succeeded by Menestheus. 1200 BC. The earliest writing in China. 1197 BC, the beginning of the first period by Cao Yang's concept of the I Ching. 1194 BC, the beginning of the Trojan War. 1192 BC, Wu Ding, king of the Shang dynasty, died. 1191 BC, Menestheus died during the Trojan War after a reign of 23 years and succeeded by his nephew, Demopton. 1186 BC, the 20th dynasty starts. April 24, 1184 BC, the fall of Troy. 1182 BC, undisputed letter of Hammurapi. 1180 BC, the invaders raised Hattusa. April 16, 1178 BC, and solar eclipse occurs, which is the return of Odysseus. 1166 BC, the start of the Discordian calendar. 1162 BC, the statue of Marduk is taken from Babylon. 1160 BC, ancient Nubia regained independence from Egypt. 1159 BC, the Hekla III eruption occurs, which triggers an 18-year period of climatic worsening. 1154 BC, the death of Menelaus in Sparta. 1153 BC, the death of Pharaoh Ramesses III. 1147 BC, Demopton died after a reign of 33 years and succeeded by Oxyntes. 1146 BC, Nebuchadnezzar I became king of Babylon. 1137 BC, Ramses VII began his reign as the sixth ruler. 1135 BC, Oxyntes died after a reign of 12 years and succeeded by Aphidas. 1134 BC, Aphidas is assassinated after a reign of 1 year and succeeded by Thyometes. 1126 BC, Thyometes died childless after a reign of 8 years and succeeded by Melanthus. 1122 BC, the Zhou dynasty was founded. 1120 BC, the destruction of Troy. 1116 BC, the death of Zhou Wu Wang. 1100 BC, Tiglath-Pileser I became king of Assyria. 1110 BC, the death of General Ansha Jr. 1104 BC, the foundation of cities. 1102 BC, the Maya calendar counts time. 1100 BC, the new kingdom of Egypt, the Shang dynasty in China, the Dark Ages of Greece, and the late Minoan culture ended, which Zarathustra was born in. 1090 BC, a very significant drop of the flow of River Nile Valley, causing the Egyptians to starve. 1089 BC, Melanthus dies after a reign of 37 years and succeeded by Codrus. 1082 BC, Babylonia suffers from a severe famine. 1081 BC, Herihor dies. 1079 BC, the death of Zhou Chen Wang. 1078 BC, Zhang Wang became king of the Zhou dynasty. 1075 BC, the new kingdom of Egypt collapsed. 1069 BC, the 21st dynasty of Egypt starts. 1068 BC, Codrus died during a battle against Dorian after a reign of 21 years. January 19, 1057 BC, the Solomon's Temple finished constructing. 1054 BC, Shamshi-Adad IV usurps the Assyrian throne. 1053 BC, The death of Kang, September of 1053 BC, and 5 planetary alignment occurs. 1052 BC, Zhao succeeds Kang. 1051 BC, Saul becomes the first king of Israel. 1050 BC, Shang dynasty ends in China. Proto-geometric period starts in Greece. 1048 BC, Medon died after a reign of 2 decades and succeeded by Acastus. 1046 BC, King Wu of Zhou overthrows the Shang dynasty Chinese king, Di Xin. 1044 BC, the death of Smendes I died and succeeded by Sen I and Neferkare-Amenemnisu. 1041 BC, the death of King David. 1039 BC, Neferkare-Amenemnisu died. 1037 BC, David is born. 1031 BC, Shalmaneser II became king of Assyria. 1030 BC, the Belknap volcano erupts in Oregon. 1027 BC, the end of the Shang dynasty, and beginning of the Zhou dynasty in China. 1026 BC, Saul the king became the first king of the Israelites. 1025 BC, the collapse of Mycenaean dominance. 1020 BC, the destruction of Troy. 1012 BC, Acastus died after a reign of 36 years and succeeded by Archippus. May 9, 1012 BC, unsolar eclipse seen in Ugarit from 6:09 p.m. to 6:39 p.m. 1010 BC, Uzzah died to be believed to have been smitten by God for violating divine law by touching the Ark of the Covenant. 1006 BC, David becomes king of the United Kingdom of Israel. 1002 BC, the death of Zhou Zhaowang. 1001 BC, Zhou Muwang became king of the Zhou dynasty of China. 1000 BC, zinc was discovered used in industry, at atomic number 30. 998 BC, King David establishes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. 994 BC, Archippus died after a reign of 19 years and succeeded by the Sippus. 993 BC, Amenemop succeeds Sen I as the king. 984 BC, Ozorkon the Elder succeeds Amenemop as the king of Egypt. 982 BC, the end of the first period by Cao Yang's concept of the I Ching. 967 BC, Tiglath-Pileser II became king of Assyria. 965 BC, David died. 959 BC, Swen II succeeds Simon as the king of Egypt. 957 BC, the reign of Muwang of the Zhou dynasty ends. 952 BC, Thesipus died after a reign of 42 years and succeeded by Phorbas. 950 BC, northern Egypt starts to be ruled by Libyan pharaohs. 949 BC, Mahaparinirvana of the historical Bible Shakyamuni Siddhartha. 947 BC, the death of Zhou Muwang. 946 BC, Zhou Gongwang became king of the Zhou dynasty. 945 BC, the 22nd dynasty of Egypt starts. 940 BC, the Temple of Solomon was finished. 935 BC, the death of Zhou Gongwang. 934 BC, Ashurdan II succeeds his father as king of Assyria. 931 BC, Solomon died in Jerusalem, which is the capital of Israel. 928 BC, his son is unable to hold the tribes of Israel together. 925 BC, the military conquest of Canaan by Shoshenq I. 922 BC, Phorbas died after a reign of 3 decades and succeeded by Megases. 920 BC, the first transit of Venus occurs. 915 BC, the death of Rehoboam. 911 BC, Aviah, the king of Judah, died. 910 BC, the death of Zhou Yiwang. 909 BC, Zhou Xiaowang became king of the Zhou dynasty of China. 900 BC, the kingdom of Kush and the Dark Ages in Greece ends. 895 BC, the death of Zhou Xiaowang. 894 BC, Zhou Yiwang became king of the Zhou dynasty in China. 892 BC, Megases died after a reign of 3 decades and succeeded by Diognetus. 891 BC, 2 Kriti 9 to the second succeeded by father.